AllPowers S2000.
0, 1. Let's get started.
Hey everybody, hope y'all are doing well. Welcome back to the channel. I've been testing this AllPowers S2000 version 2.0. It's running it through its paces, discharging, charging it, seeing what it's made of. So it's time to bring you a full review on this power station. So let me hit you with the quick tech specs before we get into the testing on this unit. It's got a 2,000 watt inverter, surge up to 4,000 watts, 1,500 watt hour lithium ternary battery. What is a lithium ternary battery? Well, that's just a fancy way of saying a lithium NMC battery. Not as many cycles as a lithium iron phosphate, but it's lighter in weight. And for the size of this unit at 32 pounds, that makes sense. Now, even with the NMC battery that's in this, AllPowers is rating it at 2,500 cycles and still have 80% capacity after that. So we'll have to run a few cycles on it to see if that's accurate or not. But it's got 500 watts capability of solar input through the XT60 connector, 400 watt max on the AC input. You can use their solar panels, or you can use solar panels between 12 and 70 volts up to 18 amp max input on the solar connector. It's got pass-through charging. It's got Bluetooth. It's compact package, nice handles. So it's got 4 AC outlets on the front. It's got pure sine wave inverter. It's got your standard DC ports on the front, your XT60 input for your solar charging. Grid charging or AC charging is in the back of the unit. Doesn't require standalone charging brick. It's all built into the unit. Comes with an accessory bag with all your different cords. Got your AC cord for charging from your wall outlet. It's got a car adapter comes with it, so you can charge from your car, which is nice for your car life people. And it's got your solar XT60 to MC4 connectors in it. Another cool thing this unit came with is this weather resistant cover. I wouldn't call it weatherproof as far as a monsoon rain or anything like that, but if you get some showers or sprinkles, works pretty good. And you can see I've used it, sat out in the sun, I've had it in the back of the truck, so it's got a little dirt on it. So it's really been used. It comes off nicely, so when you're using it, you can fold it down so you can get your full airflow through there. So please, if you're using this little weather bag on here, please be sure to fold it down when in use so the airflow can come through the unit and keep it cool. And here's the unit charging on AC power. The best I've got out of this particular model right here is 391 watts. And one of my biggest gripes is the capacity meter. It tells you stories. It's showing 999 hours to charge. When you're discharging it, it shows 100% for several uses and then drops down to around 80%. So just want you to be aware of that. Here's a little shot of the SO33 panels. Full sun at noon, 90 degrees. Light breeze. The panels are a little bit heat soaked, so let's get a reading on what they're doing. So here's a direct reading on the panels. 107, 108 watts. I've seen it spike as high as 130. Yeah, there's the real world input wattage, and you can hear the fan running. So if you block it off below 100, the fan shuts off, and above 100, the little cooling fan on the charger comes on. So no load on the inverter. Sine wave looks good, 59.9 hertz. Nothing too exciting right there. So everything looks good. If it's to put a load to it, I'm going to use this energy meter right here, try to dial it in, do a 10-minute load test on it. So before I turn the load on, I want to let you know about one little quirk I have seen with this unit. The display lags a little bit. Now, some power stations and inverters do that. Their displays are a little bit slow to show the actual wattage or load on it. So this one is one of those. So it takes it a second to show the load, and then when you shut the load off, it takes a second to drop out. So let me just demonstrate. See, didn't even pick that up for that blip. And then see, it comes in with nothing on. So that is one gripe about this machine. All right, so I'm gonna try to dial it in pretty close to 2,000. So I got a drop cord here going to a charger to some batteries. So I'll put that in there and see what that gets us first. All right, cooling fan come on. You can see the sine waves, that switch mode charger that's hooked to. It kind of chopping the top of the wave off right there, just so you know. So we're at 308, and then I'm gonna do a hair dryer on here, so that'll get us closer. The hair dryer's on the energy meter. So this should get us pretty close to full load. I'll let it run for 10 minutes. So begin now. Yeah, hold up a minute. I'm gonna hit it a little harder. I'm gonna plug in another charger and charge some more batteries instead of just burning all this off in heat. Get a little more use out of it. I'll hit the hair dryer on it again. Try to get it up closer to that 2,000 watt mark. All right, that's exactly 10 minutes. All right, so I'm gonna open this one up, do a partial tear down on it. So it looks like, so flip this around. Here's where the charge comes in from the AC input. No indication of gauge or size on these wires. Looks like 16s. So no markings on the insulation on that wire. And then the actual AC wires from the inverter board to the actual output receptacles are all wired in parallel across this board. It's 12 gauge, 200 degree jacket, but they're both labeled 12. You can see they got different jackets. This the little bit different size there, so a little discrepancy in the cabling size going to the little board. So that's interesting, but they're both marked 12. So here's a view of the main board. This is the inverter board right here. These are the battery connections coming up from the NMC pack. And what's surprising with this, I figured we'd have one set of wires. We got 4 different connections coming up from the NMC pack. 10 gauge wires going down to the battery pack. The battery pack's nice and sealed. I'll try to get you a close up of that. Down here where the pin is pointing, that's your NMC pack. It's sealed up, shrink wrapped well. And then there's our USB output boards and things like that. That's fairly decent thickness board right there. And then the display board is right here. All the connections are glued down with the sealant, pretty decent right there. And this is the charge control board right here. It's got a nice little cooling fan across the heat sink for it. It's rated at 630 watts right there. 500 watts, actually the machine is, so we got 630 watts. There's a little bit of headroom on that. So yeah, nice large capacitors on this, nice large wiring. And we can see it's 25.2 volts at 26 amps. And this is our AC input right here, AC charging board. So you got your wall plugged in right here to this. This is where the power comes in to charge the battery. So it's got a nice little cooling fan right there. Decent quality, good connections. Wires neat and tidy. The printed circuit board for the main inverter down here, the inverter circuitry. That board's a little on the thin side. Good spacing all around the box. Everything's anchored down nice. So if it was to take a hit or a drop, it appears that it would handle that just fine. And all the heat sinks are up underneath the board, so the fans catch the heat sinks and it's perfectly in line. And some numbers on the inverter board. That is a 6S LIP 2000 watt V2.1 with a date code of 2021. Interesting. You can see the charger right here, MPPT, 20 amp. And the inverter board's also got the same manufacturer, CENP. So this box works, but it has its quirks. So if you saw, when I plugged in the chargers, it kind of complained about that. It didn't care much for that. The voltage drops down. The voltage spikes up when you take the load off. Still within the range of safety, but, I would like to see improvement upon that. We've got the little issue with the display kind of reading slow and weird hour charge rates and weird things going on with the display, stuff like that. But, it does work. So if you have to decide for yourself those little quirks and little oddities about this unit are, a deal killer or not for you, but if you like it, I'll put some links in the description so you can check it out. Questions about this machine, leave it in the comment section. Hope I earned a like from you today. Anything else you'd like to see tested on these boxes, just let me know in the comment section. Appreciate you watching Aqua Mountain Homestead. Hope you have a wonderful day. Until next time, I bet her the grid don't go. Y'all be safe.